ECIC, your export risk partner.
It is key that South African exporters and contractors actually position themselves to take advantage of the massive LNG investments that are expected in Mozambique. Just to give you a brief background, currently ECIC is looking at supporting two of the big projects there to the value which is worth over $55 billion. However, in terms of the medium to long term, we are expecting investments in Mozambique to go over 120 billion. And that's an injection in an economy that is currently only estimated at 16 billion. So you can imagine if South Africa is to position ourselves from a regional perspective as well as supporting intra-African trade, it will be good for us to actually even collaborate on those levels so that when prospects at home are dim, we can actually have a neighbor that we can tap into. I think the spillover effects of those LNG investments alone will be massive, not just for SADC, but Africa as a whole.
When you look at Mozambique, Mozambique has come up. Your CEO also mentioned that Mozambique is a very interesting prospect. It also comes with great risks. They had devastating floods last year. There's been a little bit of instability in the north where the big gas deposits are. How do you factor in those elements when you are advising South African businesses about going in
I
there?
think that's exactly why ECIC is here. Our core mandate is to cover political risk insurance. So we're saying to the South African exporters and contractors, we see all the things that are happening in the north, and we believe that the government of Mozambique is collaborating with the sponsors to try and make sure that, stability is brought to the region through different ways. However, the reason why ECIC is here is specifically for that reason, so that our exporters can go into uncharted territories without worrying about what will happen if there is non-payment because of war and civil disturbances. Those are typically the kind of risks that we cover. But we do believe that quite a lot is actually being done by the government of Mozambique to try and stabilize the region. We cannot deny the amount of investment that is going in there. And as well, investors will require an atmosphere which is stable. So from that front, we are here specifically as ECIC to position and take our exporters and contractors across so that they can take advantage of those opportunities.
Any other interesting projects that you're working on other than potash?
I think ECIC continues to, obviously, one of our key strengths is that we generally support long-term infrastructure projects. So we're looking at port developments. We've had quite a number of inquiries in that sector. We also have a lot of transport that we see. We must also remember that as part of the AU Vision 2063, where we're looking at quite a number of factors in terms of poverty eradication, where we're looking at development of cities and other things, we have to know that we have to have an enabling environment. And I think the African Continental Free Trade Agreement as well, we have to be doing our bit to support all those. And having key infrastructure like transport, efficient border control so that we can have free movement of people and goods across borders is an essential element. So we've had quite a lot that we're supporting in terms of ICT, in terms of border expansions. We have seen road construction. Currently, I think we're trying to penetrate the West African market. We've had quite good exposures in Ghana, through the construction through the Sand Power project. So we've seen a quite substantial, support in terms of the electricity sector, right from generation, transmission, as well as distribution, so across the whole spectrum. So West Africa is one of those markets. We've supported quite a number of smaller projects in Nigeria where people are supplying vessels to the different, leases in Nigeria. So they're actually doing most of those on a lease basis. So we've seen, a bit of penetration. However, we continue to try and expand our footprint in West Africa. I think Côte d'Ivoire is one of the markets where we actually conducted a country scoping visit last year, and we've published a report on that. so that we can inform South African investors as well as contractors that are willing to go to markets such as West Africa, where we're still trying to position ourselves, because quite a substantial part of our portfolio is actually in SADC. So we're trying to grow it beyond that.
ECIC, your export risk partner.